Howdy folks, we're still looking at Edge Magazine issue 1, October 1993, and apparently I can only do 30 minutes of footage per video, so the first one abruptly ended. Thanks for checking out part 2, and we see images of the Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo, which looks quite arcade perfect, and I think it's just as good to play as the arcade version. And here Edge Magazine shows 3 versions next to each other, with the Champion Edition. I don't know if this helps really, trying to look at my phone like this, but they all look arcade perfect, right? So, and the Super Nintendo at least has that that balloon on E Honda stage, or the big lamp, I mean. Anyhow, a bit of deja vu here. Here we have Champion Edition for the PC Engine CD. Images of Sylphied. Images of Lands of Lore, with all these extra details. Super Mario All-Stars. Gradius 2. Rainbow Islands. Sunset Riders. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Gunstar Heroes. Two pages even, so it looks pretty good. Inca, such an odd game. Futuristic setting, but with the aesthetic of the Incas. Okay, so here we have a sheet to subscribe to Edge. Part 2, Edge number 2, would be available the 30th of September. Now this is interesting. The first couple of Edge magazines, they spent 2 pages featuring other magazines by Future Publishing, who I think are now currently the biggest video game publishing company in the world. Maybe they already were in 1993. And they have one on the Games Masters for all formats. That one still exists. Game Zone is for Nintendo. Alright. This one, called Super Plays, for the Super Nintendo. And we have Total, which is also Nintendo. So there were 3 magazines dedicated to Nintendo platforms, but there was also Sega Zone for the Mega Drive and CD, Sega Power for all Sega, and Mega for the Mega Drive. So 3 of them dedicated to mostly the Mega Drive. Fascinating, isn't it? In England they have such a big video game magazine culture that they can get away with this, or at least they could back in the day. There was also a lot of Amiga and Commodore 64 magazines, but and even though Future had them, they didn't feature them all the time here. So this being the first issue, there are nevertheless letters. The first letter ever in Edge magazine, can we focus on it? Asking about what's better, the CD or the carts? And saying, isn't Tetris on the Game Boy better than all those games we've seen on the CD? And that would be the discussion that Edge would have for a long time, whether or not to use cartridges or CDs. And of course, the loading times of CDs were horrendous at the time. And also, a lot of the CD games were quite fluff. You know, lots of beautiful images, but no gameplay. Games like the Seventh Guest and come to mind. Of course, Dragon's Lair, which used Laserdisc, is comparable. And talk about what kind of magazine should I read if I'm into the Mega Drive. And let's see, what does it say? Oh yeah, about the price of games. I don't know, about them being cheaper, and answering that the CD costs would go lower, but development costs would go higher. So they would say more or less the same. Okay. There's a survey of what you would want to see in Edge magazine. Talk to Edge. Questions like, which machines do you own? How much money have you spent on games recently? Hey, Jurassic Park. So this was summer 1993. So Jurassic Park was everywhere, including this logo. And so a sign of the times. I would love to have one of these folders for Edge magazines to store them. If you happen to have one, please let me know. I want to get as many as I can so I can store my Edge magazines in them. And then finally, an Edge tradition is to have a preview of what would happen next month. Sometimes they're very vague, like this one. All they show is the CD. And yeah, well, this one was pretty obvious. We're going to do CD-ROM technology, but sometimes they're just extremely vague. The latest one only shows the horizon outline of a pyramid with the sun behind it, and that's of course referring to Assassin's Creed, the latest one in Egypt. But sometimes they're really hard to tell. So simply a black page on the inside. If you look closely, you see Edge. And issue 1 ends with the black background, which would become a tradition for their magazine for the first year or so. And that's the first Edge. Not that expensive. I think I paid $20 for this or something. And I see them quite often online on eBay in the United Kingdom. So if you want one, you could probably find your own too. And next time we'll be looking at Edge Magazine 2. It's already in the playlist. Using 240p. Not good quality. Skip to Edge Magazine 12 if you want to continue with 720p. And yeah, I'll probably keep doing this until I get through all my edges. Who knows? Who knows how long this will take? Maybe I'll take a look at all my books on computer games. I also have quite a lot. So here, just showing off my own bookcase. It goes on quite a lot. And a friend of mine said, why don't you show yourself in the video? So here's me, Robert August de Meyer. And hope to see you later in other videos. So bye.